Charlie Dimmock,
Boys!
the Rich Brothers, and the Garden Rescue team have a treat in store.
Too much entertainment.
They have come to the rescue of hundreds of British gardens. Now it's time to look back and pick their favourites.
This looks really cool. Fabulous.
As they celebrate the very best.
I don't like it. Huh? I love it.
From extraordinary eco-gardens to exotic designs.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Gardens inspired by people.
Is this the garden that you dreamed of?
It is. Absolutely.
I think that's a thumbs up.
And places.
It's the most beautiful garden I've ever been in.
Therapeutic spaces.
Wow.
And the most extraordinary transformations.
Whoa. It is perfect.
Yeah, come on.
Welcome to Garden Rescue.
Top of the plots.
So, guys, what's going on today?
Well, if you boys can bear it, I'm going to choose my favourite gardens today, and there's been many, many of them.
Well, we tend to brag about quality, not the quantity.
No, keep calm, keep calm. I have actually chosen a couple of yours that I really loved as well. Needless to say, there is a pond in the mix. The first one we're going to look at is the one that we did, and it was really, really tiny, but we got so much in it.
Is that maybe Manjinder in Rutland?
Yes, top points, 8 stars.
Good guess.
A lot going on.
Every garden rescue is something to be proud of. But our first, Charlie's favourite transformation was for Manjinder, who hadn't paid her somewhat petite garden any attention for a long time.
My family come over quite regularly, especially my 2 nephews who are 5 and 3. And so therefore we want to try and create a space that we can all enjoy.
Although a tight space, Charlie's winning design managed to cram in a number of features to create the perfect cottage garden, including raised beds and a shed.
Wow. So for me, it's colour, cottage and education for your nephews.
The team get to work by first ripping up the existing turf with a turf cutter. Meanwhile, out at the front, Lee is making a start on the raised beds by sawing up old scaffolding boards. These can be picked up from reclamation yards nationwide.
Going in, mate, it's going in.
Will it fit?
Will it fit?
Of course it'll fit.
One bed done, only 3 more to go. Before long, the turf is up, and after a quick once-over with the vibrating plate, the slabs can go down. Once the patio is laid, the team can crack on with the other features.
Oh, this is looking really good. Exactly what I wanted. Yet, over there, boys, with the slabs.
Yes,
Oh,
Mum.
I love being a boss.
Oh, it's ready for it, is it?
This patio area is looking great. I mean, Manjinder literally had about 5, 6 slabs outside the back door, but I wanted to give her a big seating area, but I didn't want it to look too uniform, so we've mixed up paving to give that higgledy-piggledy feel. And then we've just got these raised beds, and I actually quite like that distressed look with the bits of spray paint, the reinforcing on them, sort of looks quite quirky.
In her design, Charlie left a space for a small garden shed.
And it's going to be made out of pallets.
Lee's upcycling some pallets that Manjinder already had in the garden. You'd never know, though, the timber looks as good as new.
This is looking really good, Lee. Because we're going to have a green roof on this as well. So we're going to put a bit of timber, a bit of soil with some perlite in so it's not too heavy, and then plant some sedums and some sempervirens and succulents so it'll actually look quite pretty.
Before long, it's ready to be put in position.
Yeah, down there. That's pretty much plumb on the back of this.
That's cool, isn't it?
That. Looks like a little cabin, doesn't it?
I know, and what's the great thing is because this paving's up, when you, boys, plant that green roof up on there, you'll be able to see it. It'll look really nice.
Yeah.
Lovely.
High up on Manjinda's wish list was something to appeal to her nephews. Fruit trees can be a great way to pique a youngster's interest in the garden.
This is a cherry. It's a sweet cherry, so cherries fall into two different groups. You've got the acid cherries, which are the ones that you cook and make cherry pie with. Ooh, yummy, yummy. And then you've got your sweet cherries, are the ones that you eat raw. And I'm also going to train it as a fan.
Just in time to see them.
Charlie's idea for a green roof on the shed will give Manjinda yet another planting opportunity, this time a high-rise one.
He's made this lovely shed with this tray on top as well, which means that we can plant up a sedum roof. And with that, we've added a bit of membrane on the bottom, which is going to stop the wood from rotting. And then we've got this drainage layer here of gravel. And then all we're going to do then is add some soil on top and then put the plants in.
So we've got a lovely little mix of sedums and sempervivans of house leeks here. So we're going to put a nice little arrangement of all of these three on here. And these little guys, so like this one here, a nice little trick. Look for the ones in the nursery that have all the little babies in them, because actually this is just one plant here. So what you could do with these is you can just pick them off like that and then plant that on your roof there and it'll grow into one of these big rosettes. So actually you're getting loads of plants for your money. So that's a neat little trick. How are you going to arrange them? I can't really do it from up here.
I'll do it, Dave.
I'll have to leave you
I'll
with
have
that.
the fun bit.
In their natural habitat, alpine plants like this are well used to barren and exposed conditions with low levels of soil, so they work well in a roof garden.
That looks really good from here.
Finishes it off nice, doesn't it?
It does, it does.
We're planting little babies now.
Oh,
We're up here for hours.
There is a lot more else to do, so, you know, you don't need to be there for hours.
Wow, I don't know about
We will.
So I've used these canes to make a fan shape radiating from the base, and then it's a case of taking the branches and tying them on like that. And then that one's going to go up there like that. Get the idea? It's a bit fiddly, but definitely worth it.
With just a few finishing touches left to do, the team are done. Manjinda's dull and uninspiring backyard has been transformed into a space full of character that both her and her nephews can enjoy. But will she like it?
Do you want to open your eyes?
It's amazing. Thank you. You've created an amazingly magical space.
I'm sure that'll be a much-loved cottage garden with lots of use from Manjinda and her nephews. It was quite a formal cottage garden, a sort of knot garden effect. This planting here is much more natural cottage planting with lots of things self-seeding. So the aqualigias have self-seeded. Foxgloves are great because they will dot themselves around the border. And if you're going for a cottage feel, mix up the colours so that there's lots of different colours in the gardens. We've got pinks and blues and purples and whites and a lovely scabious. And that will give you the cottagey effect that you're looking for. So don't try and be too neat and tidy. Just plant them close together and pop them in. And don't be overzealous with your weeding in the spring. Get to recognise seedlings of the self-seeders like the aqualigia and the foxgloves. Now, my next favourite might surprise you. It was a crazy transformation for Ollie, who was bike mad, and his mum and dad.
Charlie's next favourite top-of-the-plots transformation saw Sally and her family's average garden in Appleton given a thrilling makeover for their cycle-crazy son, Ollie. Charlie's design featured a racetrack circling the garden, packed with weird and wonderful features.
The idea is to give different textures on this pathway. We've got this sort of bank of timber around there, so there's a slight curve to it.
Right.
And then I did think it would be quite fun that he can, if he wants, zoom in to Mum and Dad's bit, and we'll have a different type of paving there, so it's sort of rumble, so maybe cobbles.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
The team get to work on this mammoth transformation, but the first job for Charlie is to create a bike rumble strip through the new patio.
So what is this stuff?
3mm limestone, crushed limestone.
So no cement in it?
No cement in it. It's just it's normally the way you'd lay block paving.
Oh, of course, and then you put sand in on the top?
Yeah. So we
Right.
just lay that out, screed it out. We drop the bricks in.
Like so.
We tap them into place.
And tap
Normally you'd run a whacker plate over it and they'll all just squash into place.
Right.
Then you put like a kiln-dried sand on top and it will sort of interlocks them all and traps them all in.
So even I think I could do that bit.
You could do this easy,
Yeah?
Charlie, no problem.
All right, I'll do that bit.
There you go.
And she's not the only one having fun with the track.
Now, we're actually creating the start and the finish line of the racing track. Now, obviously, that would be defined by the checkerboard pattern, but that would stand out a little bit too obvious in a garden. So Charlie had a lovely idea of using these cobbled sets. Now, this one here is a dark limestone, and this one here is a light granite. And I think they're going to add a nice little element to the racing track.
I actually think this looks really cool. It looks like a tyre track to me.
With the final pieces of the track slotting into place,
Well done. These are looking pretty good. Pretty fun as well.
Yeah, I agree.
the brothers have also made something to turbocharge the racetrack, some chevrons. But will the boss be impressed?
Hey!
They look great. I mean, they look like they'd be really complicated.
No, it's just
What
like...
do you mean? They were. You underestimated. We made it look simple.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You're the two right people for that.
Right, turn it the right way and ride them out.
Onwards and upwards.
Another feature that was key to Charlie's bike theme was a rather unique archway.
So this is a bit of fun. Using a bit of rebar. It's cheap and cheerful, so if that one goes in there, not too wide. And then we've got these wheels that we got from the Reclamation Centre, free of charge, because Oliver likes his wheels in whatever form. I have to say they were into a great big knot. Oh, there you go. And going to be great for climbers. So we're going to attach those on up here. Maybe a bit of this mesh as well. But when Oliver's shooting through on his scooter, he'll know that it's wheels everywhere.
Although the racetrack is taking centre stage, the garden also has to please Ollie's parents, so the team disguise it with shrubs and plants.
I've got a rather lovely shrub here. It's a Hibiscus syriacus. That's the species of a hibiscus that are hardy in the UK. My idea was that, you know, when Sally and Ian are sat here, they don't really see the scooter track. All they see are lots of really pretty plants. And from there, they are just surrounded with colour and scent from the jasmine and honeysuckle.
There's a race to cross the finish line, and with some final planting, the garden is done. Before, it was a dull, flat space, with little fun to be had for either children or adults. Charlie's design combined an exhilarating racetrack and a tranquil space for the parents. Time to see if it pleases all the family.
You can open your eyes. So 1, 2, 3.
Wow! Look at that! How amazing is that? That is fabulous, isn't it? Wow!
But it's the racetrack that really wins the day.
Very cool garden, that, Charlie. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I think you two secretly wanted to stay there and play, didn't you?
It's no secret.
Now, my next favourite garden is actually one of yours, boys.
Ooh, which one?
Do you remember Bernard and Cecilia?
Yes.
Of course.
Wanted a Maltese garden, but with lots of homegrown veg and a Mediterranean vibe.
Yeah, loved that one, actually. Really cool design. Definitely Mediterranean, but it was quite contemporary. And then a little bit of country garden, English country gardens thrown in for good measure.
Since moving to their house, Bernard and Cecilia hadn't done anything to their garden, but they dreamt of growing their own produce. So the Rich Brothers' incredible design featured raised vegetable beds, a dry stone wall, and an orchard.
So we've got these small dwarf apple trees, and they're going to create a lovely kind of gridded orchard where we've located a nice little seating space amongst it.
If you're hungry.
And if you're hungry, just lift that, pick one out, have a bite.
There it is, look. Big one.
First job for the landscaping team is removing the old decking,
Right, should we get all hands on deck?
which they carefully do so they can reuse the wood for the vegetable raised beds.
Right, get the digger in.
While Kyle clears the patio area and Chris makes a start clearing up the old grass, out the front, the Rich Brothers and Charlie have arrived.
Look, and we've got the Maltese weather.
And around the back of the house, the boys are delighted by how much has been achieved.
So the guys have been working super hard, made a dramatic difference to the garden already. And one of the big differences is down here, brand new patio. So this patio then leads on to one of the main features in the garden, and that's this angled pathway.
And I've got to say, this is one of my favourite parts of the garden. It's this lovely stone wall that's going to define these two sections of the garden. And it's a lovely texture, and it really has a little nod to Malta. And it's lovely to see that they've already got produce in this garden. This greenhouse is just packed full of tomatoes, a bit of a bumper crop. I see Charlie's already in there, making
Come and
good.
smell this, come and smell this.
Oh, go on then.
This takes me back to working in a commercial, the smell of tomatoes.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Pinching them out.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it smells fantastic. They've got loads of stuff in it, lots
know.
of different varieties.
Lovely to see, isn't it?
Harry's first task is building the dry stone walls.
And these walls are very evocative of the landscape in Malta. Now, I'm building this wall in quite a traditional manner. I'm not using any cement. Rather, I'm using scalpins, which fills the void, and then I'm using tie stones as well, which help to link all the wall together. Now, the way that these have been cropped makes them very easy to build, because it's almost like a brick, in the way that I'm just making sure I cross the joints with the next one. They're just building up, and that's what's so lovely about this, is that it's kind of supported by friction and gravity. It's a really enjoyable way of building a wall, and it's very different to the way I normally do it back in Wales. But I think it's got a lovely simplicity about it and a lovely geometric shape to it.
Ready
That's the job.
for me
Ready for you.
to plant up with
I
the
know.
herbs?
Yes, I know.
Oh, come on.
I'll leave you gaps. How about that?
Okay, all right then. And is it easier building with them than...
Oh, look at it.
It's
I
just
mean,
like
if
stickle
I can't
bricks.
build a wall with it, I may as well not bother.
Well, I can't wait to plant it up.
Yeah.
While all the bound gravel surfaces go down, Charlie's finally got her chance to plant up the top of the finished dry stone wall.
And now the herbs for this lovely dry stone wall. I mean, when you go on holiday, whether it's Spain, Portugal, or even Malta, I'm sure we've all got memories of wandering around and getting this really strong aromatic scent, and it's going to be in full sun. Now we've got the lemon verbena, which is yummy. Now it's going to get quite big, so it'll fill this space, which will make this a bit more intimate around here. But also, Harry and David are putting in a lot of herbs like thyme, which is great because it will sort of trail over the edges, but also they're making this into a seat. So it's going to be part partition, part seat. And of course, when you then sit on this, thyme will take being trodden on or sat on, and they can use it for cooking, and it's fantastic for bees.
Meanwhile, David makes a start on the all-important raised vegetable beds.
So it's just really simple construction with these veg beds. So we're just screwing the deck boards in at the corners, and then to brace them, to keep them square and keep it strong, we're putting in some of this 2x2 timber here as well. So we've got one layer We're going to be raising it to 2 layers, so nice and high. And it's really this simple. And again, it's just about adding that nice bit of produce into the garden, but really defining this as a traditional working garden with a lovely modern twist around the outside of it.
The team are progressing well, and Harry is planting the orchard and entertainment area with apple and pear trees.
Now, these fruit trees will add a gorgeous romance to this part of the garden, and that's what we wanted to create, a lovely kind of atmosphere of this old English garden. They've got a lovely blossom, but they also don't grow too large. Now, these are dwarf rootstocks, so they're not going to grow much larger than 2 metres, which means we're still going to retain a lot of the sunshine in this back area. We're going to plant quite a few of them.
The garden is nearly done, and there's a frantic push to finish the planting. What was an unloved waste ground has been transformed. The unproductive and unappealing outdoor space now fuses English country garden with a Maltese touch. But most importantly, it'll deliver plenty of fruit and veg. Time to show Bernard and Cecilia.
3, 2, 1, open your eyes.
Oh, wow. This looks good, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Well done.
Really elegant garden. I love that one, and so practical. Loads of veg, places to sit. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Charlie. Well, yeah, it was a lovely garden. Hopefully they've got tons of vegetables growing in it this year.
Gardens being practical, that is one of the big themes. Now, the next one, do you remember Burton-on-Trent?
What's that one?
Chris and Naomi, the garden that was on a big, steep slope.
Oh, yeah.
And she'd been in an accident, so it had to be accessible.
Very complex, though, if I remember rightly.
Yes. It is amazing that you can just draw a line.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you've got to build it.
The only things enjoying Naomi and Chris's garden were the chickens. So Charlie's winning design broke the space up into different zones to suit the whole family. And it featured a gentle paved slope, so Naomi could easily access it.
This section here is the sunken garden, the lower section. And I'm thinking that lends itself to the chickens.
The landscaping team get to work quickly. First, building a retaining wall at the bottom of the garden so it can be levelled.
We're going to bring all the soil from this side of the garden down into that corner. That'll give a nice, square, level lawn area down here.
Wall's in place, and it's time for Steve to do some serious earth moving. And with the ground finally levelled, the landscaping team crack on, building the paved patio and the all-important gentle slope to give Naomi access to the lower section of the garden. Meanwhile, the brothers have been tasked with building a hanging box to grow salad in that can be raised out of reach of those hungry hens.
It's going to be a little bit of fun, and it's going to spruce up a little area in the back of the garden for the chickens and for Naomi.
Right, should we crack on?
Yes.
The salad box will be suspended from a wooden scaffold, and the brothers have already sawed the timbers to length. All that remains is to screw the 2 bits together.
Ooh, nice. When creating a structure like this, it's key to use bolt screws rather than ordinary screws, because you're going to be able to get it a lot deeper into the wood. It's going to hold it a lot stronger, and especially with a structure like this, it's going to hold a bit of weight.
But it isn't long before the boss comes to check on their progress.
It's going to be a pot or a basket on the end of it that we're going to make.
Right.
And then we're going to have some edibles in it.
OK, like
Some
cut and come
salads.
again salad stuff.
Yes, exactly. So when it's up here...
It'll be out of the chicken's way.
Yeah.
OK.
Too bitter.
Then drop it down. Chickens
The
can come
chickens.
have a... OK. You can always hang some flags on it.
Happy with the brothers' rather inventive design, Charlie takes herself off to the front garden for some peaceful crafting of her own. She's got an idea for some rather unusual recycled planters.
So I'm going to use these jam jars, and of course you can't drill a jam jar, so what we're going to do is put a big layer of gravel in the bottom. That way when you put the water in, you'll be able to see the water, and then when the plant uses all the water up, you can see that it needs watering. So a big layer of water, a bit of potting compost. I'm going to use these sempervivums here. And the great thing about these succulents is they really don't need much in the way of compost because they're alpines, so they'd naturally be growing in crevices between rocks which have very little soil and get very limited water. And there we go, see? There you go, so that looks quite cute. And then I'm going to attach them to a piece of board that I've saved from the skip and then use these Jubilee clips to hold them to the board. And then I've got these little jam jars that I'm going to pop in some night lights.
In the back garden, Lee's been cracking on building a timber pergola.
Right, this is it, crowning glory.
Whilst the brothers have nearly finished their raised salad box.
The moment of truth, no.
Right, hoist the flag, Captain.
Turning my sailor's knots.
There we are.
The chickens will be happy, as is Charlie, because she's starting her favourite part of any garden, the planting.
I love these cornus cousas.
They are, I mean...
They get these beautiful white bracts on them, which look like leaves, but they're white and they just have a little tint of pink and it just gets covered with them. And this one's been grown as a multi-stem shrub, so it'll fill that whole space. Make that seating area nice and quiet.
With the planting done and the final touches added, the garden is finished. What was an awkward, unloved space has been cleverly divided into different zones for all the family. And it now has easy access for Naomi. But what will she and Chris think?
OK, you're allowed to open your eyes.
Oh my word! Look at that! I can get down there and... oh wow!
That garden was definitely an engineering marvel, but great to know that Naomi can actually use the garden properly now.
Yeah, I wonder if the chickens like their veg box.
They went.
I thought it just gone mad.
That directly translated as, we love it. Thank you, Harry.
So we're looking at my favourite gardens over the years, but what about my favourite plant? Impossible to choose, but I have to say roses are up there. They're lovely plants. You get colour, scent, and they go from ground cover plants to rambling roses that will cover a tree. Now, they're quite hardy, but there's certain things that they do really like. They do like to be fed regularly. They're quite hungry roses, and you need to do that probably twice a year, in the spring, about March, and then after the first flush of flowers. Use a rose feed, so it's just a case of sprinkling it around the base of the plant. Now, roses are deep-rooted plants, so they can normally find water, but if you're establishing them, then you will need to water them, or if you get a dry patch in the summer, it's definitely worth watering them. So give them a good soak rather than sort of lots of light waterings. And after you finish watering, it's definitely worth mulching around the base of the plant. I'm using well-rotted compost here. Keep it about 4 inches away from the base of the plant, so the mulch traps moisture in and also helps to suppress weeds. The other thing to remember, deadhead regularly. It'll keep those glorious flowers coming back. Now, my next favourite garden is in West Sussex, and it was for Claire and Paul, and guess what? The main feature was a pond.
Paul and Claire wanted a wildlife haven for the family to enjoy, and Charlie's design ticked all the boxes. It was hedgehog-friendly, had bird and bat boxes, a bug hotel arbour, and of course, a giant pond.
water is a must for wildlife, and by having an actual pond rather than just a water feature, you'll be able to get frogs and newts in there. There'll be shallow areas so the birds can bathe in it. Bring your swimming trunks.
With so much to do, the landscaping team crack on with the groundwork. With the turf up and the pond underway, Seb and Scott can crack on with Charlie's walkway and pergola.
So the pond's all dug out. I've gone for an irregular shape because it's a wildlife pond. You could go for a formal shape in a garden sort of near the house, but irregular will look nicer in this garden. So egg shape, we've got lots of different depths. So 2 foot in the centre so it doesn't freeze up and it gives the wildlife somewhere to hibernate. Then we've got a shelf all the way around the edge. That's about 10 inches deep. But then what we have got on a wildlife pond, it's quite key, is to have this sloping edge so that any wildlife that gets into the pond can easily get back out. Hope it's big enough.
It's too long.
It's all right. Better to have a liner bigger than you need than smaller than you need. Time to fill the pond up. It'll take a while.
But it's not just pond life that will get a new home. The boys are also installing some bird boxes.
It's important when you site your bird box to put it as high up the tree or high up the building as possible, because that means it's out of the way from predators. Nice, that's the bird box in.
Harry's also made a bat box from some timber.
It's a very similar concept, really, but it's all fixed, and the only thing here for them to enter is this little 10 to 15 millimetre gap.
While David and Harry hang the bat box, Charlie starts on her marginal plants for the pond.
The marginals are the ones that sit in the shallow water that's like 4 to 10 inches deep, and they are really important in a wildlife pond because the wildlife, things like dragonfly nymphs and damselfly nymphs, need the plants that stick out of the water so that once they've grown big enough, the nymphs, they actually crawl out onto the leaf and then split open and turn into the dragonflies and damselflies. One of my favourites is kingcup, flowers really early in the spring, the first thing really to flower in a pond. And then lythrum, which gets these tall spires of purple flowers. Lovely.
Another key job is to make the garden hedgehog friendly, which Charlie's on to next.
The biggest problem for hedgehogs are fences, wooden fences like this, because they can't get into the garden. And we really need to help our hedgehogs out, because back in the 50s, there was about 35 million hedgehogs, and now we're probably lucky if there's 1 million. So I'm going to dig these gullyways, which will be little entrance and exits all round the garden, so that the hedgehogs can go from one garden to the next, because they don't just live in one spot. They go round looking for food, and I'm planting a selection of natives, so things like hawthorn, yew and hornbeam, which they naturally encounter in the wild. But also I'm going to plant pyracantha because they apparently love the berries. So it's got white flowers in the spring, which is great for the bees, but then in the autumn you get the berries on them, which they'll eat. And if you do hear a sort of snuffling, snorting sound at night, that will probably be the hedgehogs looking for food.
With the arbour frame built, it's time for the brothers to make it bug-friendly.
This arbour is a key feature in Charlie's design, and not only is it going to be a great spot to sit and enjoy the garden from, but it's going to be a little home for wildlife and invertebrates. The guys have done a great job putting together the structure, and we're just adding the shelves. So what we've done is we've screwed in these shelving supports and then cut to size and slotted in the shelves, and on there's going to be the log pile, and logs are a perfect thing to use for this, aren't they?
They are. By introducing more wood into the garden, you're actually inviting more invertebrates as well. And they're the bottom of the food chain, so in turn, they're going to attract all that wildlife into the garden.
There we are, check that out, yeah. Done.
I think it looks really nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, very happy.
It's the final push, and the garden is a hive of activity as the team finishes the planting. And the old, uninspiring space has been transformed by Charlie's design, creating a magnificent wildlife haven. But what will Naomi and Chris think?
You can open your eyes.
Oh,
Oh, my goodness.
it's a little bit different to what it was like before.
I can't believe it. It's completely, it's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well,
Oh,
that's good.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes in the garden, you need to keep those critters at bay. Now, I'm going to be planting these cabbages out, but Charlie's given me some wonderful netting, which is going to help to keep away the flies and all the bugs away from these beautiful plants. And I'm going to do this simply by using these bamboo canes. And they're going to go around the cabbages in a line. And I'm going to use the netting, put it over the top, but I'm not actually going to pierce it to tie it on. I'm actually going to weigh it down with some rocks or some old bits of tiles found around the garden. Well, I'm not sure this is the exact colour of netting that I would have used, but Charlie does tend to like the colourful things in life. So I'm just going to rest that over the top. By simply using some tiles or some bricks or some stone just to weigh the netting down, it means that no holes develop. Therefore, you're stopping anything from getting inside. It's a wonderful way of doing it, and if you need to extend it, it's very easy. You just allow a little bit more netting to unravel. Now, this reminds me of the garden we did for Emma and Steve in Hoveringham, and Charlie created an absolute bomb-proof raised veg patch using just this netting.
Charlie's final top of the plot's favourite garden was for Emma and Steve. Although their garden had a picture-perfect view, there was one big problem.
If we put deck chairs or anything out here, we're right amongst walking land here. You can walk all along the river, so people stop at the end of the garden and just stare in at you.
So the Rich Brothers design focused on solving the privacy problem by creating a sunken seating area. But it also incorporated a vegetable patch and an old boat the couple wanted featured.
We wanted to put a nice little bench in, possibly the one you're sitting on right now, and then have the front of the boat sticking out from the bench so you guys could sit down in your little boat, look at the view, and have some fun, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
With their work cut out creating a sunken patio, the team clear the garden so they can bring in the digger. Before he can start digging, Andy needs to clear the area of the weeds that have colonised the whole of Emma and Steve's garden. But it's not just the weeds that are coming out. Some of the plants are for the chop too. With a clearly defined area to work with, Lee and Steve can lay the sleepers that will make up the retaining walls of the sunken seating area.
Bang on. It's bang on.
Next, the sleepers are fixed into place. The sunken decking is almost complete, which is just as well as the bosses have arrived.
Now, the garden is coming along beautifully. Made a massive impact already. And one of the main parts of this garden is this sunken space here. It's gorgeous. And the whole idea of it is that Emma and Steve can walk out of their house and they can walk into this lovely private sunken space.
And also, it's lovely because it makes a great seat, and that's why we've kind of integrated it in with the rest of the garden, because when you drop down, you actually get rid of that view of the road, and it really does accentuate the river and the fields and trees beyond.
Whilst the boys take in the view, Charlie's working hard moving the vegetable bed into position.
Right, square up with that.
Then it's time for Andy to break out his trusty digger again to fill it. And carpenter Lee is constructing a critter-proof frame.
Emma and Steve had in the past tried growing veg, but they weren't overly successful. So I'm hoping to give them a bit of a boost by making it free as far as possible of pests and disease. So by putting a nice frame on the raised bed, mesh, with this mesh, the flies, it's so fine, the flies can't get through.
And while Charlie tackles the bugs, the brothers are ready to do some planting around the sunken deck.
Now this shrub here is Griselinia, and the reason we've chosen it for this garden, not only for its natural, simple leaf, but actually because it grows up to be quite shrubby, quite bushy, and situated around the seating area, it's really going to help to stop those winds. And also you can see here, it's got this quite delicate, almost inconspicuous flower. It's evergreen, and that's really important because that means even in winter, it's going to help protect the garden from the wind.
Charlie has asked Lee to cut some lengths of copper piping because she's taking no chances when it comes to critter-proofing the veg bed.
This is to stop those pesky slugs and snails. You might have seen it on pots where you stick tape on, but this is the maxed out version of it. Permanent copper pipe, which just got all the way round the container. And basically what happens is the slugs and snails don't like crawling over copper.
At the end of the garden, the boys are getting nautical with the boat.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a bench situated here at the end of the path. So when they're sitting down, they can look over the front of the boat and then out onto the view. But what we'd like to do, just to add it and maybe kind of unify it into the garden a little bit more, is we'd like to build a little bespoke table in here. So when they're sitting down, they can use the table and then they can look at this beautifully crafted boat.
There's a few final jobs to finish things off to the brothers' satisfaction.
What do you think is going here, Harry?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, lovely.
A little feature at the end of the path.
Perfect.
Lovely.
And with that, the garden's finished. What was an unloved, unused space has been transformed into a beautiful private garden with a centrepiece sunken deck. But will it float Emma and Steve's boat?
Oh, my goodness.
That's incredible.
Oh, wow.
It's huge.
Yeah, nice.
How did you extend the garden by
Yeah.
that length?
There's no road now. All the way across.
Absolutely unbelievable.
That garden has to be one of the more perfect spots with a perfect garden to fit the spot, boys.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a lovely garden because it had a split level, and it's nice to be able to play around with that because you can create different spaces.
Yeah, really create a cosy atmosphere, hunkered down from the wind and the roadside.
And unusually for you two, a theme.
I know.
Many talents, see? Well, we do hope you enjoyed a look back at some of Charlie's favourite gardens.
We'll see you next time for some more Top of the Plots.
Charlie Dimmock,
Boys!
the Rich Brothers, and the Garden Rescue Team have a treat in store.
Too much entertainment.
They have come to the rescue of hundreds of British gardens. Now it's time to look back and pick their favourites.
This looks really cool.
Fabulous.
As they celebrate the very best.
I don't like it. I love it.
From extraordinary eco-gardens
Thank you so much.
to exotic designs.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Gardens inspired by people
Is this the garden that you dreamed of?
It is.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a thumbs up.
and places.
It's the most beautiful garden I've ever been in.
Therapeutic spaces.
Wow.
And the most extraordinary transformations.
It is perfect.
Welcome to Garden Rescue.
Top of the plots.
Right, Chaz, what are we up to today?
Therapeutic gardens. There is something about a garden It makes you feel happy. If you're not feeling great, it can cheer you up. It can relax you. They're fantastic for that.
Yeah, very true. I think there's no better place than to unwind in your own individual area.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, gardens just bring back so many memories. As a child, family, friends, parties, even the scent of a plant. You can suddenly be back somewhere, memory.
Absolutely.
All our gardens are a labour of love, but our Top of the Plot's therapeutic transformations celebrate spaces that create happiness, bring a sense of calm and remind us of fond memories. Like Anita's garden in Fallowfield, which was planted by her late husband and was in need of bringing back to its former glory.
We moved here in 1969 and we moved because we wanted a big garden for the children. It didn't have a single blade of grass, it didn't have a single leaf. Everything in this garden my husband planted, and it was a beautiful garden. For my husband's sake, I want to make it lovely again.
Anita wanted the overrun patch to be transformed into a fitting tribute to her late husband.
Anita, Sarah.
And Charlie's plan for a woodland garden with hints of the Japanese design that she loved,
wow,
captured her heart.
I've opened up the garden down to a little patio area near to your pond. But then what I'm doing with the rest of the garden is really what I would call proper gardening to restore the shrubs back to their beauty.
The plot was so overgrown that it takes all the muscle they have for the landscaping team to get it back to its old self.
Let me have a go first, see if I can do it.
And as the space begins to take shape, Carpenter Lee gets stuck into custom-made planters with built-in seats so Anita can garden in comfort.
Perfect. Look at that clown. Come in, new car, Anthony. Oh, very good, Lee. I like it. Very good. Put back to work.
The garden has run so wild that Anita's husband's pride and joy, a koi carp pond, is completely lost in the undergrowth. So Charlie sets the boys to finding it.
Oh, look at that. It's huge, isn't it? It goes back so far.
All right, Dave, I feel like that's where I've got to go.
Right, hold on. Let me just monkey clip you there.
Don't go falling in.
Oh, that's a strong belt. Oh.
While the brothers clear the pond, Charlie brings some TLC to the overgrown shrubs and bushes.
When you have a garden like this that's sort of overgrown, you sort of panic, and the first thing you think of doing is going, let's take everything out. By doing that, you actually end up losing some really nice plants. Now, this is just a basic laurel. It's a hedging plant, really, and it's just a big mass. But what I'm going to do is actually prune it and take away the bottom areas so it ends up like a multi-stemmed shrub or small tree. I have loppers. They're really good, and these are ratcheted ones, so it makes chopping things much easier. And then a pruning saw. So I don't know whether you can see, down over the back there, there's like a branch system. So I want to sort of expose that. And it's a case of cut a bit, step back, look.
The golden rule for pruning any plant is the 3 Ds. Remove anything that's dead, damaged or diseased. If you're reshaping, remove branches that cross or which are growing back towards the centre.
Mr. Rich and Mr. Rich, sweetie pies, do you may have your able bodies down here?
No.
Yeah. So, yeah, off we go, off we jolly well go.
I'll keep us busy today.
We just drag, we're like the donkeys.
No, you're my slaves today, you are.
Charlie doesn't just want to trim the garden back to its glory days. Inspired by Anita's love of Oriental design, she wants to introduce new features that'll make it a relaxing and therapeutic space to spend time in.
Anita has really fond memories of how the garden was many years ago, and especially the koi pond with the moving water. So I thought it'd be really lovely to get some moving water up this end of the garden where she sits most of the time. Very simple, gentle noise, but to pick up that sort of oriental theme, we're using this lovely black bamboo, and we're going to make a sort of like a rill. So the water's going to run down into this, into that, and then drop into a bowl, and then just gently overflow. So it'll just be a very soft noise. Yep, like that. I mean, it'd be nice if there's a bit of a drop. When you're doing a water feature, test it all before you put all the pebbles and everything in position, because water doesn't always go where you expect it to go.
Just come in, just come in.
Shall we turn the pump on then? Very exciting.
That's a nice noise.
The water feature's up and running, and Charlie's ready to add the plants.
I'm using some what I would call really traditional oriental plants. We've got this hosta, and then we've got this anemone wild swan. The Japanese and Chinese love anemones. They say sort of spring and summer, and it's just a very simple flower. So I'm not going to put too much in these raised beds.
A dressing of pebbles and moss disguises the reservoir, and the water feature is done. The rejuvenated garden is coming together. A relaxing, therapeutic meditation space is made by the pond.
How's that look?
That looks fantastic there. Yeah, I wouldn't take it any further in.
Cool.
Because that square looks like it's in the centre of the patio.
How ideal. There we are.
Roll out the turf.
A new lawn is laid. The raised beds are planted up.
These alliums are just going to stand proud, really bold, and draw your eye straight down to the bottom of the garden.
And finally, the bound gravel path is put down and the garden is complete. Before, Anita's garden was overgrown and wild, but now it has been transformed into a therapeutic space in which she can sit and be reminded of her late husband. But what will she think?
Do you want to open your eyes?
Oh, wow! What do you think, Nana? Wow! Oh my goodness! Look at this. It's oriental like you wanted. Look. Oh.
So you said you loved the pond, but there was so much wildlife in it, we didn't want to disturb it too much. So we thought a little bit of water outside your back door.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's so wonderful.
This garden, which holds so many happy memories for Anita, is transformed into a tranquil space that'll give her peace and solace for many years to come.
It's absolutely stunning, and my late husband would be so happy, wouldn't he, and proud.
His garden's back.
It's just a wonderful magic experience.
Now, this hedge has already had its formative pruning, unlike Nita's in Manchester. So it's already got its shape there, and this is called cloud clipping, and you can see why, because it looks like those lovely white fluffy clouds you see on a summer's day. And once you've got your hedge formed, it's then just a case of keeping it neat and tidy. So it's little light prunings, maybe twice a year with box and yew, and you're just snipping off this soft growth. So if you put your hand and push against it, you can feel where the resistance is, and it's just snipping it down like that. And what you have to remember with box especially is that you take away all those cuttings, because you want the air to circulate round the shrub. If not, you're more likely to get box blight. And you'll notice on this hedge, they've cleared the base so it lets the air circulate up through the shrub as well, definitely stopping any chance of disease. And there's something quite therapeutic about giving this hedge a light haircut. And gardens are therapeutic. And that leads us on to our next garden, which was for Michelle and Alistair and their two daughters who are autistic. And they wanted a garden that was fun for them, stimulate them mentally as well as physically.
Our next top of the plot's therapeutic garden was in Aylesbury. It was tiny and not fit for purpose.
The fencing that we've got here, it's not stable. They don't like it from going from like an uneven patio up a step into an uneven surface of grass. It can unsteady them.
The only joy for the girls was their trampoline, which had to stay. Other than that, Alistair and Michelle just wanted a safe play space.
I think I've done that.
And Charlie trumped the boys with a sensory garden that maximised on the children's must-have feature.
I've gone a bit mad here. In-ground trampoline, bigger than that one.
Very good. That's it. Here's Johnny.
It's a difficult space to work in.
Stand it up here.
But the team waste no time in getting started.
Right, so we're in.
Right, so this is it. This is it, lads.
Compact and bijou.
Yeah, compact and bijou.
Apart from the shed, the family don't wish to keep anything in the garden. Michelle was worried about the unsafe fence, so that's one of the first things to go.
Simples. There we go. Sounds like my back, that is.
And with the main clearing done, Charlie gets to work on bringing interest to the space with a clever bit of recycling.
To get a lot more colour in, I'm going to make a bit of a collage of these paint pots. You know, all those pots you've got in the back of the shed and in the garage. How about making a bit of a collage with it? One. Many more to go. Paint not quite dry in that one. Oops.
If you don't have a shed full of empty paint cans, you can get all you need with a trip to the local recycling centre.
It's lovely.
I like it.
Do it. Get it done.
Yeah!
That's a win.
You two look like twins.
Oh, thanks a lot.
To create more sensory fun and colour, David's building the girls an outdoor noughts and crosses board.
And the beauty of this game is literally just collecting some nice pebbles. So we've got a bag of pebbles, and the ones I've picked out of that bag are the ones that are nicely rounded, and they're going to fit in the palm, be nice and textural, and be easy to play with.
Once the pebbles have been spray painted, they just need to dry for a few minutes.
So now that the pebbles have dried, I'm going to make the yellow ones into bumblebees, and I make the red ones into ladybirds. So I've just got some black paint. And it's going to be as simple as giving them a little bit of a face and then giving them stripes or dots. That looks like a bumblebee's head to me.
But Charlie is keen to get this worker bee back to work.
Look at this, all the plants in the gardens brought in all the bumblebees.
Yeah, we do need to,
Get moving. I'm in a slow pace.
No slow pace, no snail pace. We want wasp pace.
OK, what?
Yeah.
Done. Yeah, good. I'm off. I'm on. Only a few more to do.
Exercise is great for mental and physical well-being, so Charlie's opted for a large sunken trampoline. The first three corners are always straightforward enough.
Yeah!
But when it comes to the last, it's putting up a bit of a fight, and an epic battle ensues between man and trampoline.
It's the wobble, isn't it? It's the wobble. Hold on, if I get hooked in.
This tricky customer cost a cool £1,000. Smaller sunken trampolines start at about £500.
You hold that. Hold that. There you are. Now.
Although installation may always be a struggle.
Well, I was probably doing quite a lot more, wasn't I, than you?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Oh, boy. Hold it there, boys. Hold it firm. Hold it steady. Yeah!
Too much entertainment.
The girls' autism means they can have difficulty processing the sights, sounds and smells they encounter. So to help with this, Charlie introduces therapeutic plants to the garden.
So this is going to be the sensory area. So bamboos are great because when they sort of blow around in the breeze, they make a lovely rustling sound. And I'm going to pop it just about here. So it's sort of screens the pots, but not too much. But it also sort of envelops this area. So I can see them up here doing a bit of painting, maybe just having a natter and playing a game. So I think this will make this a really gorgeous area. And we've got some other sensory plants here. So these are lamb's ears or stackies. They feel really, really soft. And then they have the sort of little spikes of pink flowers. And they'll also sort of trail over the border and soften the edge. Then we're going to have some other grasses in here and some arabis to give a bit of colour. Maybe some primroses. Little girls like primroses, even if you just pick the flowers and throw them around. So it will look lovely.
It's the home straight. Charlie has a few last tricks up her sleeve to make sure there will be far more to this garden than simply a trampoline. David and Harry are planting up fragrant thyme and wild strawberries between the colourful stepping stones, while Lee is adding a sensory screen to the pergola.
So I thought the girls would love this. It's like... And it does also screen, and it sort of picks up the granite, the silvers. Quite fun, I think.
And with that, the family's small garden is remade into a space packed with the sensory stimulation that's so important to the girls' well-being.
1, 2, 3, open your eyes.
I love it!
Whoa! Well, I think that's a thumbs up.
Well, it was fantastic to see their reaction to their new garden and great to see them getting stuck in straight away. Now we're going to look at how to create a sensory herb garden.
We're going to be using some really beautiful plants, ones that kick up a really nice aroma. And because this planting bed is positioned right outside the kitchen, that's not only functional for coming out and picking them, but actually it means that the smells are going to be wafted into the house on a warm summer breeze.
If you love your cooking, we've got rosemary, which is a must-have. We also got some lemon thyme and some chives.
We've got mint, gorgeous smelling, really versatile in cooking. And actually, this smell for me, maybe for Harry, is very nostalgic. So it reminds me of an old apple tree in our grandparents' garden, which the mint had run wild below it. So that's really sweet. But you need to remember not to plant it close to others because it does spread. So put it in its own isolated bed or in its own pot.
While David plants up, our next therapeutic garden provided a calming reminder of Yolanda and Avinda's family.
Since Yolanda and Arvinda moved to their South London home, the family have been through a difficult time. They were expecting triplets, and about 5 months into the pregnancy, it became clear that one of the 3 babies, a little boy they later named Jay, wasn't growing as expected.
At week 27, we found out that he passed away.
That was an incredibly
traumatic
time for us.
Very difficult.
We were terrified.
Their twins are now active 18-month-old toddlers, and Yolanda and Arvinda want their garden to be a therapeutic area for them, but also a place to remember the son they lost.
We'd love for our garden to be a space where our children can run around and play, and also it'll be a beautiful space for a memorial for their brother.
The Rich Brothers design was the one that captured the couple's heart.
We want to introduce 3 trees, which is going to pay respects to the 3 kids.
Yeah, 3 is our magic number.
Yeah.
When they arrive, the landscaping team's first job is to move the garden shed.
Push harder.
Whoa. Oh.
Before making short work of clearing the overgrown space. And when the Rich Brothers join in, planting the 3 trees representing the triplets is David's first job.
We had to choose some really special trees, really eye-catching trees for this garden to symbolise the 3 children. So we've chosen these cherries, Prunus cerula, or Tibetan cherry. and they're gorgeous. They're a small tree, so they won't grow too much larger than 6 metres. And because it's multi-stemmed as well, it has more of a natural branching out growth rather than trying to grow really tall. Its leaves have a beautiful autumn colour. There's also a single flower blossom, quite soft white pink, really delicate and understated. It's all about the bark. This copper-coloured, satin, almost metallic-like bark. Beautiful.
A fitting reference to the children. The trees will change dramatically over the seasons and help create a therapeutic ambience perfect for reflection and contemplation.
The Tibetan cherries are the perfect tree for this garden because they like a lot of sun. When you put them in, don't overwater them because their roots don't like getting too wet. How does it look for me, Harry?
Yeah, good. You not so good.
Charlie is working on the play area for the twins at the bottom of the garden.
David and Harry want me to sort of try and get the twins excited and involved in the garden. So what I thought is use some old wellies as containers. You can basically turn anything into a container as long as it holds some compost and there's a drainage hole. Now, I thought I'd plant some of the wellies up with some strawberries because children, if you want to get them involved in gardening, give them something that they can eat or looks really pretty or something that's sort of sensory, so maybe mint because of the smell. And the great thing about putting mint in a container is it stops it from runnering all around the garden. So you can see these runners already coming out of the pot, so it just contains it. So I think these will look quite cute, either hung up on the side of the shed or on a shelf. But first of all, I need to put some holes in there. So these are moisture retention crystals that you mix in with your potting compost, and it basically means it will hold on to more water in the potting compost. And if the compost does dry out, when you come to water it, it gets wet much more easily. And with any container, what you want to make sure is that you leave about 1 centimetre or 2 centimetre gap so that when you pour the water in, it doesn't fall out over the top and wash all the compost out.
Charlie's wellies will be part of a play wall for the twins. Anything from old toy cars, tea sets, and even toy bricks can be used to make kid-friendly plant pots. Tragically, before work on the garden started, Arvinder lost his mum, so the boys also include a tribute to her in their design.
Right. This family's been through some really tough times recently, and having a garden in which they can remember their loved ones is going to be really important to them. We've already got the 3 cherry trees to symbolise the 3 children, and they're going to look beautiful. But we felt it was really important to put something in the garden that gives Arvinder the chance to remember and symbolise his mother.
They've gone for a gorgeous Japanese maple and are planting it as a focal point at the back of the plot.
Yay! Good work, Dave.
Picking a memorial tree is a very personal choice, but a Japanese maple or acer like this one is a perennial favourite, as are oaks, rowans and flowering dogwoods.
We've chosen the Acer Zakazuki for a couple of reasons. First of all, it loves a sheltered spot, and at the back of the garden here we've got this high wall which protects it from winds and direct sunlight because their leaves are really fragile. And secondly, it's got this amazing, vivid autumn colour. So, you know, a view from the kitchen back to this tree is just going to create a lovely focal feature.
The brothers are weaving flowering plants through the grasses, such as astrantias and dahlias. They'll provide colour from spring to autumn and add rhythm and unity to the new outside room. They're low maintenance as well. They'll bloom reliably every year, and all Yolanda and Arvinder need to do is chop them down every autumn. The garden really is taking shape now. The decks are in place, and Lee's been keeping himself busy. He's making an L-shaped bench that's a perfect fit for the new deck.
So Lee's built the bench out of the same western red cedar as the decking, so it really has that nice continual flow, makes it feel like a little bit bespoke, and kind of like an interior as well, so gorgeous.
Only the finishing touches remain to be completed. Thea lays the new lawn for the children's play area. Charlie tidies up around the base of the newly planted acer,
and with a final whack from the vibrating plate, this garden is done. Arvinda and Yolanda's garden was once an unkempt jungle, home to weeds and a washing line. Now it is transformed into a tranquil therapeutic oasis. From the pretty little welly planters to the elegant Japanese acer and beautiful multi-stem cherry trees that pay tribute to family members living and lost.
3, 2, 1, open your eyes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Stunning.
And what's so nice about the position here is you are in the centre of the garden,
Yeah.
and you're nicely situated between the 3 Tibetan cherries to symbolise the 3 children.
That's lovely. One of them is Jace. The other one is Oscar and Bella. They will see them growing.
Yeah, yeah.
Jace also, but from a different place.
We've got a Japanese maple there to memorialise your mother.
Yeah, we thank you so very much because it's a very touching thing that you've done there.
Thank you so much.
It's
Yeah.
an absolute pleasure. But it is a garden for the whole family.
Yeah.
They're a family that I'll never forget. They were lovely.
Wonderful. But they've definitely been through quite a lot, haven't they?
Yeah, so hopefully the garden, you know, along with those 3 special trees, can bring them some comfort.
Yeah, that's a great thing about a garden, you know. It's great for you mentally, but also if you can get out in the garden physically and get out there and do things. But you can also make a garden accessible to anyone.
Yep.
So do you remember Pauline's garden in West
Oh, yeah.
That garden needed to be made accessible.
It did.
Our next therapeutic top of the plots belonged to Pauline and was an overgrown mass of weeds.
There's bushes, brambles, stinging nettles, everything out there. But at the moment, I can't do anything with it apart from look at it.
Her dream was to tame the jungle outside her back door and turn it into a space where she could grow fruit and veg without aggravating her hay fever. But more importantly, the garden needed to be accessible for her wheelchair-bound mum.
My mum lives in London, but she does come and visit on a regular basis. So obviously it would be great to be able to take her outside into the garden where it's wheelchair accessible, because normally when she does come, unfortunately, it is a bit of a struggle for me to get her into the garden.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Pauline went for the brothers' plan to take her overrun garden and turn it into an access all areas space with hay fever-friendly planting.
So we wanted to bring out this large deck that runs out onto this wheelchair-friendly gravel.
Yeah.
It's going to be a garden that's going to work for you, be a nice social space, but also work with your allergies as well.
Okay, perfect.
The landscaping team face one of their biggest clear-up jobs ever.
Wow, look at that. That's crazy, isn't it? Like, properly out of control.
First things first, the Herculean task of removing the long grass before bossman Andy can map out the garden's wheelchair-accessible features.
Gruff and I are just digging out this area here because the deck's got to be level with the bottom of the door of the house, which means it's got to come up 250 millimetres.
One of the reasons Pauline chose the boys' design was because it allows her and her mum to get to all areas of the garden. And David gets busy preparing the way.
I'm down at the bottom of the garden, just raking out and levelling where the path is going to go. And it was really crucial to draw the path all the way from the top of the garden down into the back. Now, we've got the beautiful canopy of the damson tree here overhead, and that would have been a lovely backdrop and a full stop to the garden. But what's going to make it feel that much longer and that much more inviting is actually if we drag the path through it to create that lovely bit of mystery at what's at the bottom of the garden. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out a little bit of an archway in it. It's going to make it that much more inviting and accessible. And then that draws you down into this level space back here. So it's really easy to see where the path starts and also where it ends.
Once they are marked out, the walkways are covered with a weed-suppressing membrane to stop the troublesome grass that had taken over from reappearing. The garden and decking are beginning to take shape, and Charlie stumbled across an upcycling treasure in the shed.
Look what we've just found! Da, 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 da. Hello!
Right, isn't it?
It is, but I thought it could maybe plant it up or reflect the light or...
Yeah.
But I'll need to protect this, won't I? Just in
Yeah.
case it breaks. Now, I do need to think about this. Initial thought, make it into a, low table with some planting round. But then it would almost look, if you got plants round overhanging, it'd almost look like a reflective pool. And it's going to reflect the clouds and the sunshine. Could look very pretty.
The gravel that will make the garden path more accessible for Pauline's mum has arrived, and Harry turns his attention to fruit trees.
Yeah, Mr. Bramley, looking gorgeous, slightly gnarled, just how an apple tree should be. So I'm going to find a nice home for him. Oh! Watch your back, Rosie, didn't we?
Bramley number 2, coming through.
Meanwhile, Andy's made small planters for Charlie's upcycled mirror table, while she protects the glass with a clear film which will hold it together should it break. Now she gets stuck into adding hay fever-friendly plants.
I'm planting it up, just simple planters with woolly thyme, because that, again, has quite a low pollen count, so it's quite good for sort of allergy sufferers. Then I've also got some beautiful dianthus, again, low in pollen, high in scent, smells of cloves, absolutely yummy, and it's edible. You can eat the petals, and they taste quite nice.
Should be about it, won't it?
Lovely.
3, 2. No. Gorgeous.
They look good, don't they?
Really, really nice. So it's one of the key things that Pauline wanted in the design was these raised beds, and that's to contain vegetables. She loves the idea of growing them, but in really manageable beds. We've got them 400 millimetres high. Now, that isn't too high. You don't need it any higher necessarily. But the key reason for that is that if Helen, so Pauline's mum, ever comes over, it means that she can come down here and actually get involved. So there's no excuse.
With the deck complete and the hard-bound gravel paths ready, it just takes a final flurry of planting. And from Pauline's overgrown jungle, a pristine and fully accessible garden has emerged.
3, 2, 1, open your eyes.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. Wow.
It's different, isn't it?
I'm speechless for once.
Nice, we'll remember that.
It's amazing. Oh, my gosh, I feel like I'm going to cry. But I'm not going to cry.
You can if you want.
I'm not. It's the hay fever.
Really loved that garden. Now, if you do struggle with some of the more physical activities in the garden, don't worry, there are loads of gadgets out on the market that are going to help you. Now, this one I've got here looks kind of like a pallet truck. I'm going to just slip that thing over down there, hook it on nice and tight, and then it's just a great way at moving heavier pots. It means you can just wheel them away at your leisure.
Well, that's definitely going to save your back, but this is also going to help. And this is on wheels, pretty much just a seat on wheels, and it means that you can tend to the planting beds. You know, we all spend a lot of time tending to our plants, the fronts of borders, maybe neatening it up, or just getting in and doing a bit of weeding. So this is a great way of just moving about freely, and maybe even a nice bit of storage underneath for your secateurs. And then this here is like a grab arm, and again, you're just saving your back. It just means you don't have to always be bending over to pick things up.
And then a nice alternative to the standard trowel is this guy here. This is going to help put a little less strain on your wrist when you're digging, just because of the angle of the handle. So all these gadgets are really helpful, and hopefully will just allow you to go out, be free in your own garden.
Our final top of the plot's therapeutic garden was for Tony and Christine, whose lives had not been the same since they were both shot in the Tunisian terror attacks in 2015.
Tony, do you want a cup of tea?
Yes, please.
Because she's still on crutches, Christine couldn't use their lumpy, bumpy front garden.
I love gardening. I always have. And I find it really relaxing. With my injuries now, I'm able to get out and do the work I used to do in the garden, which I miss dreadfully.
Christine's dream was an accessible garden where she could sit and tinker or watch the birds.
Chris, Tony.
Hi, Charlie.
Charlie's design won with easy-to-negotiate walkways and plenty of places to perch and potter.
We're going to have patio areas down to a seating area here.
With access being priority number one, the team's first job is to remove the mossy lawn and lay concrete paths seeded with aggregate, making attractive walkways that are solid underfoot.
Throw it and sweep, a sweeping action.
Seating was also high on Christine and Tony's wish list, so Harry gets started on the garden's standout feature, a dry stone wall bench.
Right then, you. That's the seat bit, is it?
Yes, a nice intimate seat.
Right, OK, and that's looking right up there.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm quite excited by this.
I'm excited by this. It's a good project for me today.
You like dry stone walling, don't you?
Yeah,
we get space.
Any excuse to put my overalls on?
Romper suit, not overalls.
Romper suit.
Harry digs a trench where the bench will sit. It's filled with concrete and the footing can go in. The largest, chunkiest stones need to go at the bottom to give the wall strength. But to save on stone, he's also supporting it with breeze blocks.
Because the back of this wall is going to be covered by this soil, it seems a waste to actually use this gorgeous stone. So what I'm doing is I'm placing blocks on their side, and this is going to give that lovely bit of stability, but also when it's covered up, you won't even know it's there.
As Christine can't walk far, Charlie's also making simple perching seats for her.
Maybe if we could put one here, just literally plank, 2 posts, plank, 2 posts, yeah?
Easy.
At different heights. So if we have this one slightly lower and that one higher, because she could actually just bring a table and sit here and pot up on the higher one.
Yeah.
These are the legs for the first perching seat. Got a nice bit of oak.
Charlie's perching spots are coming together.
That's it. Look at that. Ideal.
And over at the bench, Harry needs David's help.
Nice. So that'll be fixed in, though. So
Screw down on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, ideal. Look at that. A lovely spot to perch. Look back at the rest of the garden.
Keen to maximise on the therapeutic benefits of wildlife, Charlie wants to make sure birds flock to the garden.
Whose window are you peeping in there? Let me have a look.
Not peeping, no. It's bird feeder.
Oh, look at that.
I'm thinking when bad weather, Chris and Tony sat inside looking at the gorgeous garden, but, you know, the birds will come along onto the... Tony has to hop on their feed.
Oh, nice bit of full ground.
Talking of birdies, and I'm not talking golf here, I'm talking bird nesting boxes.
Yep.
Do you fancy making some up for me?
Yeah,
or at least
together.
one.
You'll like that. Manage expectations, very good.
Yeah.
Very key.
And I've got a couple of teapots.
Ooh, perfect. I love a good brew. Bit of thinking time, strategise, like it. See ya.
No, it's meant to be for the robins, not you.
Oh, love it.
I think that fell on deaf ears.
Of course I know that robins love to nest in teapots. And the reason for that is that they're wide enough, nice and cosy, but also they've got a big enough opening. So it's really easy for them to get in, and that's what they like. But one of the key things about a teapot is it's designed, so obviously when you're pouring out the tea bag stays in there. So that's a key thing. So it allows water out, anything that gets in there allows it to drain, but fundamentally it keeps the nesting material in there, so they can keep it nice and cosy, and it's a nice little snug home for them to nest in. So all I've got to do is attach it.
Autumn is the best time of year to put up nest boxes. And whether you buy or go for David's DIY version, avoid brightly coloured ones as they can attract predators.
Ideal, here we go, I found them some old stems from stipper grass. Nice and warm, nice and dry, you can insulate them even in the cold, cold nights. So just rip that up, nice and soft, and then put it in. What's great about using teapots is they're really cheap, really easy to attach, but also
Very easy to replace the bedding. Ooh, look at that, cosy.
The old, uneven lawn prevented Christine from using her garden. But now the whole plot has been transformed into an easily accessible space. Their feathered friends are catered for. The beautiful dry stone wall bench and perching spots will allow Christine to enjoy her garden once more.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, everything. I just can't imagine. And it's all just blended in with the driveway and...
Bird feed the water and that.
I know, love.
And now she and Tony can begin to reap the full therapeutic benefit of their gorgeous garden.
This is going to change my life completely. And the last nearly 3 years, I've been cooped up in the house, recovering from operation after operation. And this has just opened up my life now. I can carry on, you know, where I left off.
They loved that garden and it meant so much to them, and after everything they've been through, they're going to really enjoy it.
Absolutely. I loved all the little bits in there, from the path surface to the perching benches. They're really going to help Christine get around the garden.
Yeah, I think it's such a privilege to be able to create these therapeutic gardens for people that you know they're going to love and cherish for a long time.
Well, we do hope you've enjoyed a look back at some of our favourite therapeutic gardens.
And we look forward to seeing you next time for some more Top of the Plots.